Hello, my name is Joey Coppedge, the Fertility Nutrition Coach, and I'm teaming up with other champions of fertility healthcare to shed light on its importance and highlight its diversity. Today, I'm joined by Devon Baeza, who's a fertility finance coach, to spotlight her corner of the fertility world. Devon, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And I can't believe you said my name right.
I was a little nervous as I said it, so but I did too.
Perfect.
Previously, I asked you about the most common question that you receive, and based on your answer, I'll just go ahead and ask it now. What the hell is a fertility finance coach?
Yes, what the hell is that? So I help women make, save, and manifest money for fertility treatments. So obviously, the costs can add up really quickly no matter what you're doing. And the financial stress is very real for a lot of people.
Fertility treatments in general can kind of feel like being a tourist in a country where you don't speak the language. So, what are some of the ways that you offer guidance and comfort for someone's fertility journey?
So I think you hit the nail on the head. You're getting all this information, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And then you learn how much things are going to cost.
Hmm.
And I know during my journey, there was a few key moments that I really, really needed somebody to talk to that understood the fertility treatment process, but also that understood finances and the implication on our lives. We did IVF and we spent our life savings to do it. And I was not responding well to the medications. And I have a few follicles. And there came a day where I said, is this even worth moving forward? This is our only chance. Should we just turn this into an IUI, try to recoup some of the cost that will give us a start on saving again? And the doctor said, it's up to you. And I called my husband and I'm like, I don't know how to make this decision. And he was like, babe, whatever you want to do. They are like, this is on you. You're the one who's obsessed with this. So I was thinking, I really wish there was someone I could call. I wish there was somebody I could just pick up and be like, hey, this is my situation. Can you help me unpack what I should do? And so that's who I am for people nowadays, and being able to share knowledge, be able to understand where they're coming from emotionally, and then helping them understand what might be underneath the money stress are the ways that I provide comfort.
Anything that runs on a system is always vulnerable to that kind of stress, right? Even animals and plants and businesses. So too much stress and we break down, and the right amount of stress and we can grow stronger. But one of the systems that is the most vulnerable to stress or distress is our reproductive system. So when our finances are causing stress, how can we prevent it from further stressing our fertility health?
Sometimes it helps to imagine that somebody showed up at your door with $100,000. Like, it's not life-changing money, right? You're still gonna have to work. You're not like buying an island with it. But now you've got the money to do what you want for your next step in fertility treatment. Some people might be like, now I've got the money for IVF. Oh, I still don't feel comfortable about this. I don't really want to put my body through that. Some people might think, I don't need to be in this relationship I'm in. Now I've got the money to do this myself. There's a lot of things that we can use money as a great excuse to cover up, but there's usually something under it. And when it comes to fertility, oftentimes what it is our hope. And that's it. And you're choosing to go all in, right? When you're not making a decision, then you still have the possibility of all possibilities. And that is what is so terrifying, because what if it doesn't work? What if my relationship breaks up because he doesn't want to be with me unless I can have a baby? Like, there's so many things that are tied to our situations, that really the going all in can be what is scarier than the money.
Okay, so here's a good example. When COVID first started, literally everybody on the globe can relate to this. There was no toilet paper.
Yeah.
And when you go to your local store to get it, where do you go? Where do you go to look for toilet paper? The toilet paper aisle. There's only one option.
Yeah.
There's only one
Right.
option for toilet paper. Part of it was just all of us panicking, and that's why a lot of it went away so quickly. But, part of the reason for that panic was that we thought there will be no more. There is no more sources other than the toilet paper aisle at any store, the toilet paper aisle, period. Well, when we got to the point where there was no more toilet paper, which we never thought we would get to in the history of the world, um, we all had to start thinking of alternatives. And if it wasn't an alternative, we had to start looking in places we weren't looking before. And my sister works at Walmart, and I was texting with her and I said, "Is it crazy like this in North Carolina too? Because it's crazy in California. Ain't no toilet paper anywhere." She said, "Go to the camping section." And I was like, okay. So I go to the camping section, and in the little tiny place where they sell stuff for RVs, they have RV specific toilet paper. And it was from the front of the shelf to the back. It wasn't big. It was like, this space was packed full of RV specific toilet paper, which there's literally no difference between RV specific toilet paper and toilet paper.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
me and the entire city of Los Angeles are scouring the, massive aisles that are typically dedicated to paper products for toilet paper. Meanwhile, there's so much of it packed on the shelves way across the store in the camping section.
So that's a perfect example. So when we talk about manifesting, that's the part that weirds people out. And I get it. Like it's
Right.
woo woo. Like
Magic.
trust me, this came much later. This was not part of the finance degree, the manifesting. But what it really does is it's not necessarily that things materialize out of nowhere. It's that they were always there. They were always there. You just weren't open to it. The camping section was always there. Walmart was stocked with toilet paper, but people are freaking out. That's a perfect example of something that's right in front of us. We just have to think about it a little differently. And it's the same with your finances. And I promise you, we were not well off. If we could do it, anybody can. And I have seen clients manifest free rounds of IVF, random checks from nowhere, overpayment from old bank accounts. Like the list goes on and on. It is there. It's just a matter of putting both feet in, closing the door, committing to doing it, and asking yourself, how am I going to do it? And what resources are there available to help me do it?
Yeah. And if you can have somebody like you kind of guiding them through the whole how am I going to do this? That's really the tough part, is asking yourself, how am I going to do this, is something you're probably already doing. But having a guide who does this with people all the time is, God, it's so helpful. And in the same way that, people want to eat healthy all the time, and there's no reason to not want to eat healthy, but because of our behaviors, because of our past, because of our the way we dealt with emotions when we were teenagers, the way our relationship with food has always, led to what we do now and the way we behave with food now. So regardless of how much people want to do it, it's kind of impossible at this point, unless we really have some guidance, or unless we stop everything else in our life, which isn't possible to do in order to address it.
Exactly. That's such a good point, because if you could do it on your own, you probably would have by now. And I know myself that I cannot diet for more than a day. If I needed to commit to long-term healthy eating, I would call Joey, be like, I need help. I know I need help.
A lot of times in my own work as a coach, people assume that they just don't have the right knowledge about nutrition. They don't have the right information yet. But once we start digging, we often find that there are these limiting behaviors that we didn't know they had. And once we can unblock those behaviors or make a plan for those behaviors, they become less of an obstacle. Is it possible to address somebody's limiting behaviors to help them unlock more money for their fertility goals?
So having the tools, having the knowledge is important, but then realizing and looking underneath and the behaviors and the beliefs you have about money and finances becomes very important. If that, this is how I felt when they said IVF is $20,000. I'm like, might as well be 2 million. I would have to win the lottery. There is no way. And I really, truly believe that there is no way. But after finding the way, after paying cash for treatment, $20,000 doesn't seem like that much anymore. right afterwards, me and my husband were like, why don't we just pay off all our debt? Just keep doing what we did. We paid off $50,000 worth of debt. Why don't we save up a down payment for a house? When you change your beliefs and realize where they're coming from, oftentimes they're like your money memories, the way you were raised, influences, whether that be from society or family, your early life experiences, they really influence us. And unless we bring those memories up, address them, and then reprogram ourselves with beliefs that serve us, it is really hard to make lasting change.
What would you say is the most common hidden root that's maybe blocking someone's behavior, or maybe blocking someone's belief that they can have that much money or spend that much money? What's the most common block?
That it's a zero sum game. So in my boring accounting classes in college, we do like two columns, and if you add to one, you have to take away from the other. And that's how they balance out. And that's kind of how it feels in life in general. If I see 4 pregnant women while I'm out today, right? It makes me feel like, I don't know, everyone else is pregnant and I'm not. My chances are lower, right? Like, you start to see the world in this imbalanced way that one thing is related to another, and that's not true. Like, there is enough money for you to fund your fertility. There is so much money floating around in the world, and through computers it's not even real. Like, there's so much. So when you ask yourself a question, how is this possible? Your brain starts acting on your behalf. Oh yeah, what about grandma's trust fund she mentioned when I was 10? What about, oh, I heard about missingmoney.com. It's like, what states owe you money you don't even know about? That's on the list. There's all of these things that can start coming your way, and things that your brain's working on your behalf. You're co-creating with the universe, and you start thinking outside the box. How can I make some more money today? What about this? What about that? And it starts moving your momentum towards your ultimate goal, which is funding your family. And it sort of solidifies in your mind, this is what we're doing. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of how.
There are always steps we can take in the right direction, and we can even start today. So you've offered a free download for viewers, 10 easy and effective ways to fund your fertility. And so I'll add a link to that in the description for viewers to take full advantage of. Devon, thank you so much for being with us today. You've been such an invaluable resource. For those of you who are watching, don't forget, starting a family takes a community, which means asking for help and relying on those of us in your community who are cheering you on. So until next time, I'm Joey Coppedge, the Fertility Nutrition Coach. Be well.